Hello all. We are starting the international webinar on New Wave in South Asian Cinema, organized by the Department of Media Studies and Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Christ Nagar College, Maranallur, Trivandrum, Kerala, India, in association with the South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation, SARC, Cultural Center, Colombo, Sri Lanka. I am Manju Rose Matthews, Head of the Department of Media Studies, Christ Nagar College, Trivandrum. On behalf of Principal Dr. Jolly Jacob, Manager and Director, Reverend Dr. Tito Verghese, CMI, and the organizing team, Emil Abraham, Reverend Tindo Pulinjavelil, CMI, Tara CB, and Nino PK, we welcome all to this webinar. Our principal, Dr. Jolly Jacob, has produced a multi-award-winning Green Movement feature film in Malayalam language, Bhumikkoru Charamageetham, a dirge for the earth, based on the poem by the celebrated Malayalam poet, Dr. O.N.V. Kurup. Our manager and director and faculty of media studies, Reverend Dr. Tito Verghese, CMI, is a singer, music composer, and a multi-talented person. Our faculty member, Ms. Tara CB, has acted in many feature films, and she is also a talented classical dancer. Good morning to Rabiat Hussain, who has joined us early morning from New York. Good afternoon to Sarhat Karaslan, who has joined us from Paris. And good evening to Professor Prashanti Maragoda, Directress of SAARC Cultural Center, who has joined from Colombo, Binod Paudal from Kathmandu, and Anik Chowdhury from Kolkata. A very good evening to all participants who have joined us from SARC region. We are delighted to have you all with us. We received a phenomenal response for this webinar on South Asian cinema from all across SARC region. We have over 1,400 participant registrations from India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Nepal. We also have people joining from Australia, Philippines, Qatar, South Africa, and the United States. Participants include film professionals, journalists, freelancers. We have educators, researchers, and students from universities, colleges, film institutes, theatre schools, and fine arts colleges. It is great to see your interest for independent cinema. Wishing you a great session of learning. This webinar is dedicated to two masters of world cinema from the SAARC region who have inspired generations of filmmakers in the subcontinent. Satyajit Ray became one of the pioneers of neorealism or parallel cinema movement in the Indian subcontinent. Dr. Lester James Peiris revolutionized Sri Lankan cinema with a strong local flavor and indigenous style. Considered as the father of Sri Lankan cinema, and he was contemporary and a great friend of Satyajit Ray. We dedicate this webinar to the two legends of world cinema. 100 years of Ray and Peiris. This webinar shall benefit participants to get a sense of challenges and opportunities that are shaping up independent cinema in the digital age. We have with us critically acclaimed independent filmmakers as speakers who have demonstrated success in the recent past with their creativity. Rabiat Hussain from Bangladesh, Binod Paudal from Nepal, Anik Chowdhury from India, Sarhat Karaslan from Turkey shall give insight on Turkish cinema, its new wave filmmaking experience in Europe. Our first speaker is Professor Prashanthi Narangoda, Directress of SAARC Cultural Center, Colombo, Sri Lanka. The SAARC Cultural Center works for bringing the people of South Asia together to celebrate and exchange the cultural heritage of the region and to strengthen the relationship through sharing of regional dance, music, theatre, literature, cinema, and arts. SAARC Cultural Center has hosted several events promoting South Asian cinema, including international film festivals. It is a great honor to associate with SAARC Cultural Center, and we express our gratitude to Professor Prashanthi Narangoda. Professor Prashanthi is also the head of the Department of Fine Arts, University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka. She has been serving there since 1992. She obtained her honors bachelor's degree in fine arts from the University of Kelaniya in 1992 and Masters of Science degree from the Postgraduate Institute of Archaeology, University of Kelaniya in the year 2000. She obtained her PhD from the University of the West, California in 2012. And she holds a postgraduate diploma in architectural conservation of monuments and sites from the University of Maratova, Sri Lanka. Professor Prashanthi has been a member of Royal Asiatic Society since 2007, American Association of Religion, AAR, since 2010, and a member of the Scientific Committee of the UNESCO International Dance Council since 2016. She has published articles in reputed journals and has authored 2 books. Her teaching areas include folk and urban theatre of Sri Lanka, folk and classical dance traditions of Sri Lanka and India, Buddhist art and architecture of India and Sri Lanka. Professor Prashanthi shall present on film as the medium for promoting culture and the vision of SAARC Cultural Center. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you very much, Ms. Manju Rose Mathis. And very good morning, very good afternoon, and very good evening to my colleagues from every corner of the world here. And we are meeting together here today to speak about this very important topic of the day, the film. What we can do through film to restore, promote, and develop intercultural dialogue through film as an art and an industry. And I must be thankful once again to the team who organized this significant webinar today, heading by Ms. Manju Rose Matthew, Head Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, for me to speak in front of this eminent gathering about the importance of film, especially with regard to South Asian cinema, from the point of view of the SAARC Cultural Center and as a film lover as well. Technically speaking, and shall I have my presentation? Can you see my presentation? Hello? Hello? Oh, God. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to share my presentation here with you all, but I can't see my screen here. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Please share,
Launching.
ma'am.
Can I? Yes. I just want to
Kindly
share.
share, ma'am.
Screen is sharing.
Yes,
Can you see my presentation?
noted.
How can we do that? The presentation is here. How can we do that? Anyway, is Ibrahim there for me to get some help?
Yes, Emil Abraham is here.
Emily, yes.
Yes.
Can you help me? Can you help me, Ibrahim, to go through this presentation? Okay. Share screen. Okay. Now you can see the presentation. Can you?
Yeah, you can go full screen.
Can you see the presentation now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Actually, we are speaking today about the film. We are in a highly digitized and a panoramic world where there is no ending. Speaking about the film as an art or an industry is at the question due to that very simple reason. And therefore, each one of us has a responsibility of what and how we can perform better in this scenario to go through our problems and issues, and specifically speaking about the culture, because we are in a very distressful world today. So because film industry is a multiple task art. It is a performing art in one hand, whereas it is an industry on the other hand. And therefore, we have a group of people who unite together to take this successful outcome at the end of the day. Maybe a filmmaker, actor, actress, choreographer, music or sound engineer, so far and so forth. There is million of others as well, and I should not mention. And out of question, we are here today to address those issues. And we have to have a dialogue how and what we can do to come up with our cultural and cultural elements through the cinema and film as a product and an art as well. For better understanding, I would go through this presentation in two sections, vision and mission of the SAARC Cultural Center, because that has a significant responsibility to take care of the culture and its elements of the SAARC region, alphabetically naming them from Afghanistan through Sri Lanka. We have 8 countries: Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, in between. All of us have some common factors, common characteristics, where there is a uniqueness of each and every single element, and there is no exception for cinema to address those issues at a time collectively and collaboratively. So that is where SAARC Cultural Center stands, to go through all those elements, common characteristics of the SAARC region, and to address all those elements in a common platform, and to develop a dialogue and an intercultural relationship to develop peace and unity in our society. Because that is what we are lacking today. That is what we are behind to date. So there is no exception for cinema among such cultural scenario like dance, theater, literature, as significant media of expression. Throughout the history, we know that people had language, but I believe personally that the most beautiful language is art, expression, medium of expression. We have developed languages today, but film is another language. It has a gesture of language that is, we cannot explain it by using 1,000 literary words. So that is where the cinema, drama, dance, music stands to appeal the mind and soul of our people, to heal the wounds, share the happiness, and attain the serenity, and finally achieve the success at every single element. And objectives of the SAARC Cultural Center, therefore, is to promote this regional unity through cultural integration and intercultural, developing intercultural dialogue, and contributing towards the preservation, conservation, and protection of South Asia's culture, in particular, within the framework of SAARC Agenda for Culture. It has given so many avenues and avenues how we can outreach to secure this culture, because culture plays a major role in securing and surviving people's destiny at a time. Film, when it comes to the art film, cultural element film, today the controversial point is whether film is an industry or an art. When it comes to industry, it is very obvious that we produce film that embeds or addresses wider scope of viewers using a variety of platforms, that we have innovated widescreen and color technologies that attract and appeal the wider community. For example, the television or home or video theaters or home theaters, creating a wider community of passive spectators. We are now mostly engaged in home theaters, mini theaters, which provides us to get some selected community, selected group of people that enjoy the same circumstances, facilities, and privileges, where there is no sharing experience from the wider community scope. Animated figures, studio-built environments, 3D effects, and digital compounds are evidence. So we are going beyond our scope to address the people and the community, being the film as an industry. So we don't need the human figure and human experience so far and so forth to produce a film at this point, which is not, I'm not saying that it is bad, but it's a new trend. But when it comes to art, there is something beyond that to address the mind and soul of the people. It becomes a performing art that addresses the needs of a particular society or community, yet sustaining a lifelong experience to the audience with a philosophy and its beauty in its serenity. And gives us opportunity to have some live gatherings, share the experience, and becomes sahurd. In Sanskrit, we all know, the people in South Asia know what sahurd means: brotherhood, brethrenhood. So we at 1 second, we becomes the members of one family. When it comes to a live gathering, we share our experience and finally making it not only the filmmaker, not only the artist experience, not only the community's experience, it becomes a global experience, and we are all one family, one thought, one idea, and we are there in looking at the film from one holistic perspective, that we are on earth and we are living together and we are living in peace and harmony. So therefore, it is a lifelong experience, and it gives an opportunity for us to have a sense of appreciation, appealing the society by or through a universal language that addresses a wider community at once. And it takes for us a lifelong experience, to be honest. So to come to that point, what is the role of the SAARC Cultural Center? It has actually, in 2030, it envisions to become the SAARC Educational and Cultural Center. So we are working towards that. Therefore, all these cultural elements, tangible or intangible, visual or performing, digital or manual or analog or whatever the specific designation we give it, we are expected to impart the knowledge on cultures of our nation through the SAARC Cultural Center. And cinema plays a major role in that. And it also helps us restoring, promoting, and developing solid relationships among each of us, that long established customs, values, norms, and traditions, to appreciate those values, because those are the intangible cultural heritage that we have to date. Therefore, with that vision and mission, SAARC Cultural Center organizes a variety of activities like festivals, events, exhibitions, and we are trying our best to make some publications that really defines and explores the culture of our region, our people, by doing searching, researching, and redefining all those tangible and intangible cultural heritage in the region. SAARC Film Festival, with regard to the SAARC Film Festival, why we are organizing SAARC Film Festival in Sri Lanka? Because Sri Lanka, to give us hint of idea, it's one of the most attracted point of the South Asian region. Highly attracted tourist nucleus, where there is a million of tourist community spreading from all over the country, hails Sri Lanka and comes to Sri Lanka throughout the year. So therefore, SAARC Film Festival, when we organize it in Sri Lanka, it gives a wider publicity to the universe, whereas it gives us an opportunity to share the experience of South Asian nation to a wider community, to the Europe, America, British, and anywhere in the world. And therefore, it has become one of the most successful and consistent programs since 2009, continuous conducted since 2011. And last year, being the most successful film festival that we had, 34 official submissions were forwarded to the contest. Ongoing is the 10th SAARC Film Festival. Actually, we were supposed to have it in May. Due to this COVID-19 impact, we had to postpone it. But taking the advantage of it, we are making all the efforts to have it online and screen it over the television to give a wider opportunity to the entire region within this kind of lockdown situation, for them to revisit and revisit this film festival through the electronic and digital media and device. So we are not giving up our effort to have this film festival, because it gives us such an immense opportunity to heal the wounds at this specific situation and to address the issues we are facing today. So therefore it is a fortune for us to have this film festival amidst this pandemic situation. And I believe that it will create some more interest on South Asian cinema by the universal community, because it goes online through the SAARC Cultural Center website. We have developed a YouTube link, so it will be open to everybody from September onwards. And in addition to that, we are conducting enhanced educational component open to the cinephilists, students, filmmakers, and enthusiasts. It's open to all. So we are like calling application for that these days. Whereas we are inviting all the SAARC Secretariat to send the nominations from each member state. We have 3 categories altogether: 2 feature films from each member state, 2 short films, and a master film, a selected artwork nominated by the focal point, perhaps the National Film Corporation or the Ministry of Cultural Affairs, who takes care of the responsibility of screening films, or the censor board of each member state would nominate a selected film which will not face for a contest, and a documentary, one number. We are inviting altogether 5 to 6 films from each member state, which will be screened with the approval of the respective member state and with the official nominations and invited entries. The emphasis of this is to showcase art and culture of the countries of our region, with the aim of promoting harmony and understanding in the SAARC region through the medium, this serene medium, we call it film and at major scale cinema. So, being the directors of the SAARC Cultural Center, 1st of April 2020, I hope I can perform the best for the film industry in the nation, not only as an industry, as an art, to restore and promote culture and cultural elements, and to develop peace and harmony through film as an art, becoming part of the same experience where the filmmaker and that particular community has provided and given us to share their experience. Thank you so much for listening my short presentation and the speech. Have a wonderful evening. And now I can become a viewer of this wonderful session. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Prashanthi Narangoda, for your insight on film as a medium for promoting culture. We wish you good luck with the mission of
so
SAARC Cultural Center. It will be interesting to see how filmmakers from the region work more collaboratively. We look forward to associate with SAARC Cultural Center and organize more events in the future. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Parallel cinema movement of the SAARC region have portrayed powerful and realistic narratives, breaking away from the mainstream cinema's hype and glamour. Our next presenter, Binod Paudel from Nepal, has been a bold direction with his feature film Bulbul. Cinema in Nepal went the mainstream way, disconnected from the reality. His film portrays a lead lady character played by the talented actor Swastika Khadka. Binod Paudel did his bachelor's in film studies from Tribhuvan University and master's in business administration from the Trinity St. David University, United Kingdom. He is a filmmaker and a film academician. Binod is now the CEO and the principal of the Oscar International College, Tribhuvan University, Kathmandu. Binod's movies include Awaken Eyes, 2008, a short film, and he did the story and screenplay for Sanguru in 2013. He essayed his acting skills in Six City in 2011. Binod has received several awards for his works, which includes National Award for his best script for Sanguru and the SARC Award. He received National Award for the Best Director in 2019 and Best Writer and Director Award in the International Film Festival of Nepal 2019 for Bulbul. We are streaming a song sequence from Bulbul before Binod speaks.
म तपाईको छोरालाई छोड्दैछु आफूले मात्रै गरेर नहुने रहेछ
Binod shall now speak about new directions of cinema in Nepal, and participants kindly listen. If you have any questions, kindly you can comment in your YouTube link we are providing. Kindly comment, check the comments of comment of your YouTube link and kindly type your questions. Binod Paudel shall speak now about new directions of cinema in Nepal. Welcome, Binod.
Thank you. Thank you so much, dear Manju. And thank you for presenting this song since it is very close to my heart. This song's lyrics was collected by my mother. So I really appreciate your presenting this song. First of all, I would like to thank you, Nagar College, to organize this event, which is really, really appreciated from, especially for being, organized in a South Asian cinemas, since so many filmmakers who wanted to get gathered in this kind of events, and this makes really sense to expose their ideas, thoughts, and protect the cultures and social psychological things in films. So my name is Binod, as you mentioned. I'm a filmmaker from Nepal. I also run film school in Nepal, which calls Oscar International College, which is affiliated to Tribune University, as you mentioned. Yeah, the title that you gave me, you asked me once that is this the good title for cinema in Nepal? I don't know. I should be able to portray cinema in Nepal not so clearly in short session, but I'll try my best. We have like a very short trend in Nepal, and we have very complicated industry so far. So first of all, I would like to thank college and Professor Prasandi for presenting your paper.
Thank you very much.
Yes, my pleasure. I'm really happy that Ms. Prasandi presented this paper, and you all are organizing film festivals in Sri Lanka. So there are so many things that we can do together, like collecting all South Asian filmmakers in one platform, giving them funding, and distributing the independent cinemas. So there are so many things that we can do together with SARC Culture Center. If you have any, if you think that we can be any helpful from Nepal, then I'm really, I would be really appreciated. From Nepal, to tell you some training of Nepal of cinema, I should go to the share screen, right? Okay, so I have some presentation. Okay. So should I go to desktop? Okay. So can you all see my presentation? Yeah. We don't have much longer history in Nepal, actually. The first film was started in 1951. The director was D.B. Pariyar, the first film of Nepal, which was produced from India, actually. And the Nepali language was properly produced in Nepal in 1964. The name of film is Ama, that's mother in English language. And then simultaneously, there was another movie was My Tigar, was in 1966, directed by B.S. Thapa, first film to be produced under a private banner, actually. And then we have a golden era that we considered it from 1980s. Relatively more creative films were made and they became commercially successful, like Samjana, Kusume Rumal, Lahure, Kanchi, Basudev's, Saino, Koseli. The films were heavily influenced from Bollywood. I don't know, I should say fortunate or unfortunately, because we really lost our identity that we started in, copying cinema from Bollywood. We didn't start from ourselves, but we started from the Bollywood cinemas. So as an industry stated to flourish, stardom emerged from within that name, that like Rajasamal, Bhuvan Keshi, Shiva Shrestha, which was very good in Nepal, that we had some stardom, and commercially we had very good films. But at the same time, we didn't get proper Nepali films of those period. There is a conflict era, unfortunately. We had a Maoist insurgency actually in 1990s. So from 1996, we faced so many problems in civilization. Like the Maoist revolution period was like 1996 to 2006. Very small number of films were made those in those period. But everywhere was lockdown. People were frightened, and there was no cinema. Theaters was running properly. So in those period, even that period, some of the filmmakers, we really appreciate those filmmakers. We started making some movies like Balidan, Darpan Chaya, Seema Rekha, Zindagi. Those films were commercially successful, and at the same time, they were so remarkable films. Even though there was a Maoist insurgency, our filmmakers didn't stop themselves making movies. And that time, Mukundo was the first film that which was produced by international fund. We still find our new realism from Mukundo actually. We always express our thanks to director Chiring Ritar and Numafon, director Navin Subba, who made their effort during the insurgency and made this kind of great movies, which shows our society, which shows the psychology and the culture of Nepali society actually. And after that, we call it new wave in Nepali cinema. Uh, I'm still confused whether I should say new wave, but still we have to accept that there are some movies who attempted their best way, creating their own narrative, like Kagbeni and Sanu Sansar. They were the first the first initiation in mainstream cinema. They created some kind of new wave, making different. Creating different kind of movies, different kind of narratives. Um, like in 2012, there were some influencing films like Lut, Sanguro, Kabaddi, Pashupati Prasad, Chakapanja. These were the films that influenced market, but at the same time, like Lut and Sanguro, Pashupati Prasad, they were just like a new realism, and they were portraying the real society of Nepali cinema and Nepali psychology actually. Other than these films, they were only copying Indian cinemas or maybe some Korean cinemas. So there were some conflict between independent filmmakers and mainstream filmmakers. In spite of that, there are some acclaimed films like Highway, which created very good vibes in Nepal and international platform, and White Sun. The director was Deepak Roniar, and Kalapoti was in 2015, which we had so many critical awards from international arena. And Hari, which was very good films, which created new wave in Nepali cinema, but still there was problem of financial return actually. And similarly, Bulbul was my movie. We have tried our best to present our Nepali psychology, our own character, rather than jumping out to Bollywood or Hollywood. So we tried our best to protect our own psychology, own culture. And present situation of Nepal is really complicated in my point of view, because there are some movies being made, like some TV series kind of films with a lot of loud comedy. They have been influencing whole market. In one point, it is a positive aspect that they are earning very good money and keeping economy well. But at the same time, we are losing our identity, and we are losing the narrative, that what kind of narrative we want to establish in Nepali cinema. So there are always been confused, dilemma all the way. And the main problem is we're still looking forward to get some good vision by government so that we can literate our audience to promote our own cinema, um, the local cinemas, rather than watching or getting influence from the commercial cinemas around the world. So it's not. I mean, that's not wrong that people are watching commercial cinema, but at the same time, we really want them to know their own local culture, the local psychology, so that we can have our own identity. So we always have conflict between commercial filmmakers and indie filmmakers. That commercial filmmakers, they always want their own cinemas to be prioritized, and we always want our cinemas to be prioritized in our society. So this is the present situation. Yeah, I mean, this is the trend of Nepali cinema. I think I should stop the share. Yeah, this is the trend that I can concisely say or present. More than that, if you have any questions regarding Nepali cinema or the film that I presented, Bulbul, which was I think screened on Sri Lanka SAARC Film Festival, and also we got award, the Best Actress Award by Sastama Khadka. And there are so many awards that we won, but it's not um, the point that we won the award, but we tried our best to establish our own society, our own culture that shows that Nepal, that shows the Nepal actually, rather than some other influencing factors. So yeah, this is it. Um, Miss Manju?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vinod. And our participants have some questions for you. And Ms. Nino PK, my colleague, will pick the questions from the participants and will ask. Kindly answer.
Sure.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So I'll be handling the question and answer session. So
Sure.
can we begin the session? Okay.
Yeah.
So the first question is, sir, can you please explain your attempt to get in this field and your sacrifice behind this creation?
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Ninu, and thank you for the question. Yes, the sacrifice, I don't have any sacrifice. I don't say the sacrifice, but yes, my attempt to be in this field from my childhood, I always had a dream to become an actor actually. And I was influenced from Bollywood films, and I was influenced from Amitabh Bachchan, in fact. So from that period, from childhood, I always wanted to be like Amitabh Bachchan. But later, in a later phase, when I studied films, and gradually when I started learning, when I started learning worldwide cinemas, watching world cinemas, then I realized that filmmaking is an art, and you should explore your own experience. You should explore your own psychology, the things that relates you, the things that touches your heart, rather than creating some formula. You have to have your own ideas. You have to have your own experience in cinema so that you can present your honesty, and that can become an art. So that's how I jumped out in cinema. So there's a long journey. I could not become an actor. There are so many reasons that I could not. because of some reasons. I mean, I didn't like the cinema that I offered, so I didn't do that. So I decided, okay, if you don't like other cinema, then you have to create your own cinema. Then I decided to become a writer, and I wrote Sanguru. And Sanguru also had some very good awards. I mean, critical awards in SAARC film festivals, and also we got international awards and some national awards. And then all of a sudden, I got offered in a film school as a principal. And then I started working as a principal in film school, where I studied my bachelor degree, which had challenge for me. And so I decided to work as a principal and also work as a acting professor. So after that, after 6 years of period, I created Bulbul. I decided to direct the movie. I thought I have to portray my vision on screen rather than writing for others. So that's how I created Bulbul. And I'm really happy that I explored myself, I explored my thoughts, I explored my society, and I explored my characters that I used to see while walking, while being at home, being at my country. Yeah. Did I answer your question? I guess.
Yes, yes, sir. So,
Thank you.
shall we go to the next question?
Sure.
Okay, so the next question is, how far do you think Nepal's film industry has done justice to its cultural heritage through films?
Oh, wow. Very complicated question. The government will keep me in jail if I'm so sorry. Just kidding. In fact, I mean, always the civil, I mean, the newer generation always has a complaint, always blame the government. And, and yes, me too. Government so far, they are trying their best, but still we have complaint towards them because they never realized that cinema can be an art which can reflect culture, which can reflect psychology of your country, which can reflect your own identity. So far, I am personally not happy that the policies that been made for the cinema and the culture are totally made by some unprofessional people. They are not very much exposed with the cinema and art. So I'm not happy at all. Yeah. So I don't think that government has done any justice to cinema and culture. They're trying their best, but still, I'm not happy. Yeah, that's my answer.
Okay, sir. So the next question is, there was a time when filmmakers hoped for an OTT platform to come to the front to help showcase independent cinema. But don't you feel that even OTT platforms are monopolized by big commercial films? This is the next question.
Wow, this is my question actually. Thank you. Yeah, actually, yes, you are absolutely right. Even me, I used to think that way. Um, I don't know whether I should say on this public events or not, but once, very first time when I signed in to Netflix, I was searching for some independent films which I really likes. I could not find there, and I was really disappointed that I could not find the films that I really want to watch in OTT platform, especially in Netflix. So yes, you are right. Even when I searched the Bollywood cinemas in Netflix and Amazon Prime, I could not even find very good cinemas been made by so many great filmmakers, and a lot of commercial cinemas are being given prioritize, and you know what, they all are doing a business, so they want the films which got commercially success rather than just showing the art. So this is very disappointing factor for all of the world, that still today the people or the business people are not realizing that art can be a very good tool to grow the human being or to transform human being as a happy people. They have not realized yet. So that is a really disappointing factor. However, nowadays I can see some of the some of OTT platforms are being made who are trying to showcase some independent films which are being coming. Even in Netflix and Amazon Prime, they are trying, but still, um, I don't see that they are giving priority to independent films. They are always gives priority to commercial films which can earn money. So yes, even I do have these questions for big OTT platforms. Thank you.
Okay. So we have this next question, and the question is, how far has Bollywood influenced the cinema of Nepal?
Very far. I mean, still, if you see the movies in Nepal, if you just put subtitle on it, then you can't recognize whether this is in Indian cinema or Nepali cinema. So still we have a problem of that actually, because Indian cinema has big influence to Nepali cinema, since we have all the Indian channels are running in Nepali society. People love Indian cinema, and I don't have any personal problem. Even I watch Bollywood cinema, and I really respect Bollywood cinema, and I'm really influenced. I really inspired, and I really love to, sing a song from Bollywood. I really love to, listen the song from the Bollywood. I really love. Even my family loves. But at the same time, what we are saying is, okay, you love something, but when you create something, create your own, so that you can create your own culture. You can show your own what about you, where are you exist in cinema. So we want filmmakers to identify their own self rather than influencing some other formulas. And we don't want them to make films which doesn't show your society, which doesn't show your characters. So we always prefer that. That's why your question says how far. So I should say 90, almost maybe 98% cinemas are influenced from Bollywood cinemas, and only maybe 2% they are trying their best to intake their own narrative.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
So we have one more question.
Mm-hmm.
According to you, how far will this COVID-19 pandemic will affect the development of film industry in future?
Yes, this is a really complicated question. Even me, I've been asked by media so many times, and I really couldn't answer properly. But my sixth sense, my soul believes that in every pandemic situation, you have some opportunity in for in future. So even in COVID-19, we realized something as a creator. Yeah, for example, me, when I was locked down at home for 3 months, 4 months maybe, I realized I was running for nothing. I was rushing for nothing. I was forgetting myself. I was forgetting my nature. I was forgetting the trees. I was forgetting the birds. I was forgetting the beautiful nature, the earth. And I realized that I have to go back inside me. And that's how I believe that all the creators and the filmmakers, they must be realized that way. So in that sense, I believe that in new time will bring the new things with them, the new expose, new product, they will bring the new creations and also new ideas. And so I really believe, I'm really positive that COVID-19 will end up very soon. Um, but practically, of course, the economically we will be affected, but at the same time we will have very new ideas in the world cinemas. So I really believe in a positive aspects. So maybe after 6 or 7 months we will be having new hopes, we will be having new ideas, we'll be working together. And the COVID-19 taught us that we all are together and we all are same. We are really connected to nature. We have to accept that. So that's how the world became same. So we will have new ideas together. So I'm really hopeful for that.
Okay, sir, so that's all we have the questions. So thank you so much for answering all the questions. And now I'll hand over the presentation back to Manju ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Vinod Paudal, for enlightening us on Nepali cinema. And we wish you great success with your new movies and efforts for strengthening academic training in filmmaking through Oscar International School of Film. Thank you, Vinod.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
The new generations of filmmakers are taking forward the legacy of master filmmakers, receiving international recognition with their brave narratives and realistic representation of society. Our next speaker, Anik Chowdhury, joins us from Kolkata, representing the Indian cinema. Anik Chowdhury is a painter, poet, author, film theorist, and a full-time filmmaker. His first 3 movies, The Wife's Letter, White, and Cactus, they are all silent movies, silent films. All 3 of them were screened at Cannes Film Festival's Marché du Film section. His 4th venture is a Malayalam film titled Katti Nirtham. The title means knife dance. Katti Nirtham is also screened at Cannes Marché du Films virtually in 2020. Anik shall take us through his films and his new film, Katti Nirtham. We have the trailer of Katti Nirtham now.
Mukunda Janardana Devesa Mukunda Janardana Pahidayambu Nidhe Pahidayambu Nidhe प्रसिद्धं विशेषं नाटिलोके प्रसिद्धं विशेषं നാട്ടിലൊക്കെ പ്രസിദ്ധം വിശേഷം.
So now let us welcome Anik for his presentation.
Well, hello everyone. Good evening. Namaskaram. And Nandi Manju ma'am. So it's first of all a big honor. I mean, it's my first Malayalam film and being invited by people all around and kind of represent Indian cinema. So actually I don't have anything to present. I would actually like to go forward to the questions to be asked. Okay, because there's nothing to present actually. And first of all, I would like to add that if we ask about Indian film scenario, it's actually going quite bad because people do kind of, identify Indian films by Bollywood films, and the thing is actually pretty going on the same all these days. So that's the whole scenario is all about. But Malayalam film, I think, is doing very good. And being a component of Bengali cinema, I don't think it's actually up to the standards of Malayalam cinema, and I don't think it will be in the near future if it follows the same trend. So that's all. And first of all, it was actually quite challenging for me, I mean, making a film in Malayalam in a language that I don't know, that I don't understand. I know a few words, that is, and that I had learned today morning, to kind of show off a bit that, okay, fine, this is a Malayalam film. So otherwise, it has been quite a challenge for me because this is also the first verbal film for me. Because in my previous film, I had not quite used language. So that's it. And we are quite looking forward because the support we have got from Kerala, from people from Kerala, which is spectacular. The help we have got from Kerala, like Premchand ji, Archana Padmini, Pratap Joseph sir, and many of them, because in the past few years, Malayalam cinema has inspired me so much that I thought, okay, fine, if I need to, start off with a verbal language film, it has to be Malayalam because I don't know if Indian cinema comes to my mind, it's that Malayalam cinema. I identify Indian cinema, Malayalam cinema. The films that are being made in Malayalam, for example, Chola by Sanal or Jose's Imayu. So there are a lot of films made in Malayalam. I think in every sector, not only in health sector, not only in, kind of improving the COVID sector, also in film sector, people should actually kind of, relate to Malayalam cinema more or kind of refer to Malayalam cinema more in order to make the film scenario in India better. And now talking and throwing a bit of light about this COVID scenario and cinema, I think it is going to be tougher for independent filmmakers because since theatrical productions are being, kind of sidelined a bit, of course, I mean, filmmakers like Sujit Sarkar or other renowned filmmakers, OTT platforms will definitely prefer them. And I think all of you will actually, kind of believe it because what SARC is doing, it's a great thing. But if we also take the OTT thing along with this, I think it will be tougher times for us ahead because Bulbul by Binod Paudel has been much better. It's of much better quality than Bulbul that was recently released in Netflix. So these are the things that we need to cope up with. And what we are born to struggle, independent filmmakers. That is the kind of attribute for all of us, and we need to do it. And at the end of the day, we'll kind of end up making films like Bhosle by Devashish Makhija or Binod Paudel's Bulbul and Rubaiyat Hussein's Made in Bangladesh. So that's it. I mean, in a way, we know to struggle. We are accustomed to it, and we are kind of accustomed to Charles Darwin's theory of survival of the fittest, and we are strongly, going to be the fittest very soon, going by the circumstances. As that's all I have to say about this filmmaking scenario in India. So, but these are tougher times ahead, that I must say.
Faculty member and the program coordinator for this webinar, Emil Abraham, will do the question answer session with Anik.
Hello. Hello. Hello, Anik.
Can you hear, Anik?
Yeah, I can, yes.
Okay, the first question we have is names in Malayalam films which inspired you the most.
Okay.
Maybe
There are a lot of Malayalam films that have inspired me. Sexy Durga is one of a kind, which is the contemporary film that has inspired me a lot. Kumbhalagni Nights, of course. And then most of Mammootty's films. And the film that has inspired me the most to make this film Gattinittam is Vanaprastham by Shaji Karun, which was a spectacular film. And that has actually inspired me the most. Otherwise, every film these days that Malayalam filmmakers are making, like Kapela has inspired me to a certain extent. And they're so, closer to reality. They don't kind of, flash of the reality. They don't kind of, superficialize the reality. So that's what is great about, Malayalam films. So I would say Vanaprastham has inspired me the most.
okay. The next question is what made you do a Malayalam film?
Okay, what made you do a Malayalam film?
Yeah.
I already answered in the previous question actually, because Malayalam films have inspired me so much. The language has inspired me so much. And Kerala, oh my God, I mean, I should have born in Kerala. I should have born in some family in Kerala. I strongly believe that. I don't belong here. Everyone says that I belong to Kerala. So I'm so much obsessed with Kerala. And whenever someone asks that, why do you need to go? I need to go to Kerala. That's it. So the landscape of Kerala, the language of Kerala, although I don't understand it completely, but that mystery in the language that has actually inspired me to make a film in Malayalam. And the culture is so close to earth. So all such things being amalgamated into the form that has kind of inspired me to make a film in Malayalam. And apart from this, these days Bengali films do not inspire me that much. Marathi films do, Tamil films do. Of course, Sri Lankan films also do. Actually, I watched Deepan, which actually inspired me a lot. I mean, what a film Deepan is! Seriously. But the thing is that how much good a film we make, the more important is the producer's value. Otherwise, we cannot pitch the film to OTT platforms. Even if we pitch it, it shows nothing actually. You need a label of Anurag Kashyap or Vikramaditya Motwane or Drishyam films. So those are the things that are needed the most actually. What inspires us is a very trivial topic these days, but what kind of inspires you to promote this worldwide? So that motivation factor is what we are missing these days. So more and more people should come and motivate independent filmmakers.
Okay, thank you, Anik. Next question is, could you please share your experience creating an artistic piece in a language and culture that is unfamiliar to you?
It was challenging. It was beautiful. It's like what? I mean, it's like having a food with spoon is almost equal to making love with the form of an interpreter. The same way, it's like making a film which is unfamiliar to you, the language. It was very challenging to kind of, create the whole scenario in Kolkata, because Kolkata, the city life, the urban place is not very similar to that of Ernakulam or Kerala. So in that aspect, it was very tough, and the art director had to do a lot of research and lot of stuff and lot of hard work to come up with. But overall, it was very challenging, and I need to take the help of many, Kerala people as well to kind of, put some of the kind of props that should kind of look, that should resemble that of, props in Kerala. So all those things, and we have made this film in a period of around 1.5 years. So we did thorough research, but overall the experience was beautiful.
Okay, thank you, Anil.
Am I speaking a bit fast?
No.
It's fine?
Yeah, it's
Prasanti ma'am,
fine.
it's fine?
Yes,
Okay, okay.
It's fine, it's fine, no
Perfect, you're right.
problem.
Okay.
That's fine. It's a wonderful presentation.
So we'll move
Nice
on to the
presentation.
next question.
It's your real life experience about filmmaking. And I love you saying that you love Kerala. You are more into Kerala means you are more into Sri Lanka. Because
Yes,
Kerala
of course.
I mean, in favor of Sri Lanka. That is where we find the uniqueness, those
So
common characteristics we
that
address.
means you're inviting me post-corona to Sri Lanka?
Why not?
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Anik,
Yeah.
one more thing. Our principal, her doctorate is in Malayalam.
Hello, ma'am.
Our principal, Dr. Jolie Jacob, her doctorate is in
Yes.
Malayalam. And she is
Very
a
nice.
producer of Bhumikaru Charmageetham.
Oh, I will meet every one of you next year, maybe. I mean, next year if I'm
Yeah,
settling.
definitely hearty welcome.
Definitely.
I mean, this
Definitely.
COVID pandemic situation has given us a
Okay,
lot
we'll
of
move to the
opportunities to be
next
together.
question.
This is one of it. This
This
is one of it.
actually. This is one of it, actually.
Yes.
This is actually one of it.
It has given us a lot of lessons.
Lot
So
of
we are
lessons.
learning. Yes.
We are learning.
So we
Yeah.
are meeting today.
Exactly. We are meeting today.
Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise we all isolated and we are doing our own jobs.
Exactly.
You are in Kolkata, Vinod is in Nepal, Manju is in
Kerala.
Kerala.
Yes. And I am in Sri Lanka, so I'll be doing my job and you all be doing your job. So
Yeah,
now we are together to do something together.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
definitely.
So that's the mission towards our era.
Okay.
Given us the kind of pandemic, COVID-19 has given us a dowry.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a question for Anik.
Yeah. I just read the question. It's a very
Yeah.
interesting question, actually.
Don't you think Indian cinema tries too hard to showcase the culture or the people that it misses the entertainment or something to take back from?
Yeah, I've read it. Yeah, in a way, it's not like that. It's like we are showing the reality. And so entertainment varies from people to people. It's quite dependent upon the uses and gratifications of various backgrounds of people. It's quite dependent upon that. So what we try to show is that we try to show the reality which is not being depicted in mainstream entertainment most of the days. So I don't think that we're taking away entertainment from our films. It's like how you perceive entertainment. That's it. Yeah, I know it's very turmoil and it's very dull. I mean, when we are all facing such dull things and we are again showing the same thing on screen, it's very dull. But at the same time, at the same point of time, we cannot, escape from the reality. So filmmaking has a lot of stuff. Okay, entertaining is fine, but also informing at the same point of time. Because we filmmakers have certain responsibilities, because we have some power and we have some blessing. So in that way, we have some responsibilities so that we can show the reality as well. Because it's like the Sylvia Plath's poem, The Mirror. One cannot always run into the lake to see a kind of desired image of themselves. You always need to turn to the mirror, to see the actual image that you possess. So that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Anil. We have one more question. Why do you choose silence in your film? Is there any significance?
Yeah, silence, it's very significant because the lesser the words, the more moments can be communicated to the audiences. You need not to speak all the time. Silence actually portrays a lot. That's why it's like, for example, if you're communicating with a lover, you need not to speak that, okay, fine, I love you, something like that. It's the kind of expression of your eyes or your non-verbal expressions. That's all it matters. In the same way, when you're communicating to for example, a capitalistic guy is communicating with a poor guy who is kind of a beggar on the streets. So you always not to abuse that person. Your behavior, your mannerism kind of, it expresses everything about the status quo and everything, associated with it. So that's why I choose silence to be kind of, and another, since I ardently follow world cinema, so I think language should not be a barrier, in communicating between two languages in cinema, because the more the silence, more is the commonality between two languages or between two people situated in two different countries. So that's why I think silence is a better option than using language.
And that's body language.
Huh.
Okay.
Okay, we move on to the next question. Do you think a film should be politically correct, or do you try to make your films politically correct?
No, I don't try to make my films politically correct. I rather try to make political films, because this film is also an adaptation of Mahabharata, where the dark side of gods have also been shown. For example, we have also shown that how Arjuna kidnapped Subhadra. So I've shown it, and we are not trying to be politically correct, because we are not here to please people in the government, because there are no preferable people to please in the government right now. So in that way, we need not to be politically correct, actually. Because we have seen films to be banned, films like Sexy Durga to be banned, films like Nude to be banned. So there's no way. I mean, we are kind of following those steps. We are trying to make political films than making films politically correct. We're actually making films correctly political. That should be the term.
Yes, thank you, Eric, for your answers. I hope you could cover most of the questions. I will hand over the mic to Manju.
Okay. Thank you, Anik, and hope to meet you soon. Wishing you a great success with Kathimrutam and your future projects. Let this inspire many more filmmakers, independent filmmakers, to make great cinema.
Thanks a lot.
And our next session is an interview with Turkish filmmaker Serhat Karaslan, who has joined us from Paris. Serhat was born in a village called Vato near Turkey, Iran border. He decided to take up a course in pharmacy. After his graduation in 2006, Serhat started to work as a pharmacist while making short films. Serhat later joined master's program for directors of film and drama at Kadir Has University, Istanbul. While earning his master's degree, he made 2 short films, Bicycle in 2010 and Musa in 2012. In 2014, he directed the noted short film Ice Cream. Ice Cream was premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival in the short film competition. His films have won more than 100 awards and have screened in major film festivals including Toronto, Locarno, Karlovy Vary, Thessaloniki, Montpellier, Sarajevo, and Istanbul. His debut feature film, passed by censor 2019, was selected at Cannes Cine Foundation residence. It made its international premiere at the 54th Karlovy Vary Film Festival and received the Best Film Award by the Federation of Film Critics of Europe and the Mediterranean. The Indian premiere of Passed by Censor was here in Trivandrum at the International Film Festival of Kerala 2019 as the opening festival movie. Passed by Censor has won many awards, including the 30th Singapore Film Festival Special Jury Prize, at the 30th Istanbul Film Festival for Best Script and Best Editing. Sarhad just completed his latest film, The Criminals, in 2020, and we have an interview session with Sarhad. Before that, we shall watch the trailer of Passed by Censor.
Yeni taktikleri bulmak gittikçe zorlaşıyor. Bu bir mektup, bir mahkum mektubu. Dikkatlice okuyacaksınız. Varsa sakıncalı yerleri üzerini karalayacaksınız.
Önümüzdeki hafta herkes bir fotoğraf bulup onun öyküsünü yazacak. Ama eğer geçiremez.
Zakir.
Hayırdır? Elinden mektup mu bekliyorsun?
Yo, yeni torba gelmiş, onu açıyorum.
Öykü ise çok küçük bir ayrıntıdan çok büyük bir gerçeğe varma sanatı. Tıpkı Zakir'in öyküsünde olduğu gibi.
Öykünü çok sevdim.
Sağ ol.
Ne güzel fotoğrafı. Nereden buldun onu?
Sen ne yapıyorsun lan burada? Ben ne yapıyorum ya?
Ne iş çeviriyorsun sen?
Ne iş çeviriyorum ya?
Kim ne bok yedir, an be an kamera var, takip ediliyor.
Sen bu kadına aşık mı oldun?
Bunlar kesin bir iş çeviriyorlar Emel.
Bunu da bir öykü olarak gör. Bu öykünü burada bitir işte.
Hello, Sarhad.
Hello, everyone.
Great to have you with us.
Yeah,
Before
great.
going to interview, let me share my experience of watching the movie Passed by Censor. It was the opening movie of IFFK 2019 December. It was an open-air screening with a packed crowd of 5,000 plus people and pin drop silence. I it was happening in their own life. Each time the character Zaki was censoring each letter, his emotional turmoil impact was happening among the audience too. That itself was the message of the movie. We should be compassionate to our fellow beings. It was a great movie, Sarhat.
Wow, thanks so
Okay,
much.
let's move to the interview session.
Yeah, it's really
How
nice.
did you start your film journey? Heard that you have studied pharmacy and shifted to filmmaking.
Yeah. Firstly, thank you very much for your nice words. I'm really happy to hear this. And because of the shooting of the new film, I couldn't be able to come to the festival. It would be one of the most interesting screening, probably. I didn't know it's like 5,000, like that big cinema, and watching this amount of people together to film. It's very nice to hear. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I study pharmacy, and it was a few reasons. And in high school, actually, somehow I started to think about something different in life. I knew that I'm really not interested to study something like and working. And normally I supposed to study medicine and become a doctor. It was my goal, and I worked for many years, and I passed the exam. My family was very happy, and then I changed my mind. I knew that if I would go to study medicine, I couldn't do something in art, in cinema. I was not pretty sure about I want to be a director. That time I was living in a small town, and I didn't know much thing about cinema, and I didn't know actually the existence of a director. I thought the most important is someone writing, and the other one is actors. And I was not much interested to the acting side, and I thought the writing, telling the story is something I really want to do, because like storytelling, it was something always interested me a lot since my childhood. And with the cinema, I discover it's the way I want to tell the story is the cinema. It's and then I took kind of the risk, and in the end of the high school, I changed my mind. I went to the pharmacy. It was 4 years and like less time, and somehow I thought maybe after studying pharmacy, I can go to study like cinema, go to film school, and somehow I resisted like against my family, even I hide from them. I decided to pharmacy. Anyway, I went to study pharmacy. During my university years also, I was always looking to find a way to make films. And when I finished pharmacy, I realized I cannot go to the second university without like go to military service, and I didn't want to go to military service at all. And the only way to like experience something, become like master degree, I could. But as I studied pharmacy and I didn't have any experience in cinema, I couldn't apply. I applied, but they didn't. They refused naturally because I didn't do anything. And then I saw that the only way to make film is really make my own like films. And I participated like very short workshop, 1-2 workshop, like short film. It was good, but I still couldn't feel to make something by myself. But also at the same time, it was the only way to make film. I was dying to see a shooting I couldn't find. And the first shooting was my first short film. Somehow I started to make a very simple, small short film by myself. And like my 3-4 short film, I didn't put in my filmography. They are very amateur, but I did. We made with one friend. We were two. We were like doing the camera, sound, like production, and editing, everything. But it was my film school actually. I learned a lot from those mistakes and making my mistakes. And then like Bicycle was the last one. After Bicycle, somehow it traveled a lot to international also. It helped me to find also finance for next film, and also to find actors and the crew it brought many facility for me to continue to cinema. Yeah, shortly is that.
Okay. Can you tell us about your short films, Musa and Ice Cream? How it helped you to evolve as a filmmaker?
Until Musa, and actually after Bicycle, and I started to do 2 years master degree in cinema after few short film, and it helped me a lot. It was good experience. It was only theoretical, but it helped me to. It was film and drama. It was theater and cinema at the same time. I was much more interested in the cinema side, but there was not shooting, this kind of stuff. We didn't have like chance to practice filmmaking. But on the other side, we put the play on the stage, and it was good experience for me to like work with the actors, because until that time I didn't know anything about like how to really direct the actors. I worked only with amateurs, but still it was very simple, like too impressionist. I don't know how to say, but I was shooting the fiction stories, but it looked like the way I was shooting, it was like kind of making documentaries. I was making the repetition, of course, but still it was very simple. I didn't push until the limits. But after that, 2 years master degree working with actors, Musa became my first, like the film with the dialogue. Until that time, I did the film without dialogue, only with the images telling the story. And in Musa, each time when I was making each short, I was always just telling myself, this time I'm going to make something different. But probably from outside, they look same. But you always say, okay, this time I do something different. In Musa, I was most interested to like work with actors, like long scene with the dialogues, and really pushing the limits, not only what I have in the script, and really adapted to script with the actors, etc. It's helped me, and also it's encouraged me to go further with the actors. And Ice Cream also, it was another experience. I tried something else. Like for me, each of them trying something. Like for Ice Cream, the style was, but each film, it's like I'm rediscovering to learning make films. Like each time, like I didn't. Maybe it looks a bit pretentious, but I didn't do much things. But still, I can say each film, it's like you really learn again everything, how to make a film, like from zero. I feel like that, and I think that's why I think that's also one of the most important and good things about making films. And these two films has helped me to find finance for my first feature, and to find producer, and yeah, it's in these ways it helped me. And also as a filmmaker, trying different things with actors, like telling the story different way, using camera, etc. One other things about these two films. Normally, I supposed to make Ice Cream first. It was like it has to be shot in Kurdish region in Turkey, and it needs a bit finance. I apply. We only have one fund. I apply Ministry of Culture fund, and they refuse it. And then there was idea of Musa in my head, and it's like the film in all of my films, it was the fastest one I did. I like writing the script, find the location, actors, shooting everything. It was less than 1 month, and it was interesting experience. And I heard from many people, they said this is your best film. Even I was not really sure when I started to make that. And then next year I resent Ice Cream with another title to Ministry of Culture. I got found, and I made it like 1 year later anyway. Yeah.
Okay. The cinema of Turkey, the Ezilkam era, and the new wave of the 90s have shaped Turkish cinema. How were you inspired by the movies of that era?
Well, in the beginning, I only saw like on the television in the small town I grew up. I was born and grew up. There was not cinema, and we only watched the Yeşilçam films from the television, and it was only like the mostly, or like we can say like half of them comedy and the rest very melodramatic films. But it's somehow, there was some other directors like Yilmaz Güney, like Metin Erksan, Lütfi Akat, they were making different films, not only for entertainment. Like they were making quite good films. Like Yilmaz Güney is really, like as a filmmaker, his whole filmography, it's a vague equal, like equal in the Turkish cinema, and it inspired me also. It's become kind of the reason for me to make the film. And like that period, they were producing like every year like around 300 films, and after 80s it stopped suddenly. Like 10-15 years there was not much producing film, and in 90s it's like new wave started kind of, but I'm most inspired by the new wave, I can say. And like the directors like Nuri Bilge Ceylan, Zeki Demirkubuz, Reha Erdem, I inspired more from these directors, like yeah. And also, by the way, if I'm taking a long time, you can just warn me. Sometimes I lost myself when I'm talking. You can moderate me in this way.
Okay. The resurgence of Turkish cinema with great filmmakers winning awards and recognitions worldwide. What do you attribute to this new success of Turkish cinema?
Well, it's bringing an attention on film from Turkey. So it's helping for all of us, especially the newcomers, like the filmmakers in the beginning of their career. It's helping, and also internationally, it gets attention. And it's interesting you say this, but in Turkey, like the last few years, like film critics, they're always saying there's nothing new in our cinema. It's really dead. There is not new voices, new things. I think like it's a bit crucial because in Turkey we have only one fund, and cinema is really depending the finance, and that one becomes very difficult to get. Like now, like most of the filmmakers that are in blacklist, they cannot get it financed, and still they somehow individually they try to continue to make films. And it's a big country, of course, it has a history in the cinema, but still I think there is newcomers and new genre. There's many filmmakers that are trying to make different films, and it's quite colorful, I think. And yeah, it's internationally recognition is helping all of us, especially who are making their first, second films.
Okay, now all are waiting to know more about Pass by Censor. How did you decide on the film?
The first feature, it's become very difficult and complicated for everyone actually. And for Pass by Censor, the most difficult one was finding the finance, because of the subject is not very likable for a country. It was very hard to find finance, and somehow I have some other idea before also, like more personal, but for first feature, personal story is a bit difficult, you know. Maybe it can be your most interesting film, but still people don't get involved easily. But this one, the idea like catch people suddenly. Like when I was saying the story about someone working in prison and like censor the letters, everyone like just wants to hear more. And it's fiction story, but it's coming from some of my personal experience. I mean, I have not been in jail, but I know some people, like political prisoners, that are in prison for a long time, and I was in corresponding with these people, and like someone still in prison, like a long time. One day I received a letter, and the part of letter was blacked out, and then I found out there is a commission. Before I knew somehow the letter's been checked, but I didn't know there's a commission. They're really checking and carefully reading and censoring and sending the court some of the letters, like if they see as a like something criminal in like from their point of view. And it's really catch my attention. And in the beginning, I was not aimed to make a film about it. I just really want to discover this world and stay with me. And after a while, and I shared this idea. I said, to my producer. I said, I want to make something about someone like censoring the letter of prisoners, but I don't know what to do. Maybe I should do a documentary, as I don't know anything about this world. And he said, yeah, well, it's a good idea, but let's make some research. And then I found out it's impossible to make a documentary. Even it's impossible to reach these people who are practicing this job. Then I read and I did some research as much as I can. And I started to write a fiction from all of this experience.
So what were your challenges through your debut film?
I think everywhere in the whole world and for everyone more or less same. For the first feature, if it's not really micro budget, it's become finding finance and convincing the people. And in my case, because of my short film, Grass, thanks to my short film, I didn't have difficulty to convince producer and the crew actors. But finance become like big issue. It took more than 3 years to find finance, and also the subject was interesting international. But each platform we went, like all co-production markets, like people try to pull me to another place. They want to give a shape from their point of view. And when I go back to home, each time I have to get rid of this whole impact on me and really focus on the film I want to make it. And when many people involved with as a co-production, many countries, there is many other point of view idea, I don't want to say, like directing you some way, to really not to really like be strong and do your film. In a way, it was a challenge, I can say.
Okay. Passed by Censor was screened at IFFK 2019 as the opening movie and had great appreciation. How was the response in other festivals?
I think it was interesting in all countries because it bring discussion. It was like people not only talking about the story, the film. For me, it was interesting and very valuable. Each time, it doesn't matter which part of the world, it's somehow brought like a discussion, a debate, and we talk about not only Turkey, not only a political situation in recent year in Turkey. In general, we discuss and talk with the audience, with filmmakers about like the new censor in the world, because censor, it can be as primitive as in the film, like blacking out the lines. But in our times, the censor can be really in different way. In digital times, it's impossible to make as before. But now in some country, like the people who are directing the countries, they somehow the head of media also, they manipulate the media. This is also another way to censor, like choosing the news, like not seeing some of them, like neglect some of their, like it's also kind of censor. And we discuss this kind of stuff. That was very interesting for me. Like from this film to go to these subjects in this point of view, it was interesting.
Okay. Passed by Censor is Turkish, German, French co-production. How independent movies get multi-nation production partnership?
Well, it has to, I mean, with the country you want to make co-production, it has to be a thread between two countries. I mean, it should be like you can have a contribution, because it's not possible between all countries. Like for Turkey, we are doing with Europe mostly, because there is source, and also we have deal. We can make co-production with Germany, with France, with Romania, with some other countries. And it's not only somehow for many people, it looks only financially, like for finding finance. It's not true. You do co-production for artistic way also. For example, for my last film, it was co-production between Turkey, Romania, and France. Thanks to the co-production, I work with the DOP, like Romanian DOP. I really wanted to work with. It's with co-production it was possible. Without co-production, it's become more complicated. Or for the post-production, for other stuff, it's bring these artistic things also, not only the finance. Of course, it's also financially make it more easy because you divide it between 3 countries, the finance. And for how to make, as I said in the beginning, like it has to have a potential internationally, and also it has to, your country can make co-production with the country you want to make with.
Okay. Then how should new filmmakers from South Asia look out for partnership from Europe?
Well, I think it's really depend if their country can make co-production. Like if I don't know what it called in English, like threads, like a thread between 2 countries. Your country could make that, but also there is other way. I think, like for example, from South Asia, there is a lot of films they get finance from Cinéma du Monde from France, or World Cinema Fund from Berlinale, or Hubert Bas Fund from Rotterdam Film Festival. And this also, but for getting this fund, of course, it's very important to have a producer from that country. If you have French producer, you can go to Cinéma du Monde, or for World Cinema Fund, you have to have a German partner. For Hubert Bas, is really very likely if you have a Dutch co-producer or partner. And for finding, before this also, it's important to find like a partner, co-producer. You have to try and go to, it's very competitive and difficult to go to co-production markets like in Europe. I know Europe a bit, I don't know the rest of the world, but in Europe, like for example, Berlinale co-production market, Cannes market, like Cinemart in Rotterdam, or Cinelink in Sarajevo, there's this kind of platform. You can find partner, like co-producer, and you can make co-production. Also, you can go to try and get finance from this fund.
So please share your experience with Cine Foundation residents. What should new filmmakers know about it?
Cine Foundation residents, it's helping really a lot to the project you are applying with. Also, it's a good stamp on your career. It's, for example, without Cine Foundation, probably we couldn't make Pass by Censor. And it's really, it helped us a lot to find finance. And because of the Cine Foundation, we found French co-producer, and also we found German producer. For finance, it solved problems very easily, and we found distributor. It's really great experience. You stay a few months in Paris. You are by your own. You work on your projects. They don't say anything how you do your works. There is some session, some workshop about how to pitch your projects, and also you meet some experienced filmmakers, like established filmmakers, and discuss about filmmaking. And you meet several times with the producer in France, and they send you to several festivals like Locarno, like in Mexico, some festivals, and also Rotterdam. And there's a lot of good other stuff about Cine Foundation as experience. Like you have a cinema card. You can go to many cinema in Paris for free, no limit. And yeah, it's really a good experience. Also, it's very good stamp on you for your projects you are working on it, and for your next project is always good. And it's a bit difficult and competitive. It's hard, but like filmmakers should definitely try when they are confident about the version of their projects they are working on it, because I think it's for first or second feature you can apply. Yeah, I keep short because sometimes when I talk I can lose myself, and I don't want to like too much using the time anyway.
Okay, then what is the situation of cinema industry in Turkey in the COVID scenario? How the production houses are responding to the challenge?
Yeah, I think it's too early to talk about this because it's very new for everywhere in the world. Like now they started to shooting again in Turkey. like the art house cinema is really small industry. Like we cannot call it even industry. Like the TV series, like TV, like it's really big industry. They are selling and making like TVs a lot, and there's TV series go to all around the world. Maybe even in their countries, in your countries, there's Turkish series. They started to shooting in June, I think, yeah. And as I heard, there is not much thing. They do some checks because, like, I don't know what it called. Syndica is in English. Syndica, like association of filmmakers. Like in French and Turkey, we called it syndica. They announced some regulation, like with the COVID, how to make films. Like less crew, do this, like expert of COVID. But this really, like higher the budget. It's bringing some other problems, and for series they are somehow shooting, they continue, but for films, many films being postponed, some of them being cancelled, and it's really vague to see how it will be in the near future. I think it's same all around the world, and we will see in the near future the real effect on the industry, and not only for producing, also for the screening. Like many small cinema in Turkey now face to problem of being closing, and I hope it will not be that big effect on the art house cinema.
Okay. Now we are very much keen to know about your new movie, The Criminals.
The Criminals, I don't want to much talk about, like give spoil, but it says like a story about young couple, university student in a small town in Anatolia. They are looking for hotel room for staying at night. They've been refused from all hotels because they don't have marriage certificate, and they try to find a way to get a room, and the situation get very complicated for them. It's a drama. I used a bit genre, like mixing genre, a drama with a psychological thriller. We are in the post-production. It's just these days we almost finished, like last few things left, and it's going to be, we are starting to send festivals soon. And yeah, I'm very excited to show the people as well. I hope it will not be too late. In the near future, we can show it.
Okay. And what is your message for the film students and the aspiring filmmakers?
I don't want to call the message, but I like from my experience, I wait for a long time to start. I didn't know how to start, how to do it. And when I started, I realized I really waited for a long time and it didn't bring anything. I think we are learning to making film while we are making it. I mean, I didn't go to film school, and film school, of course, it's good experience, and you practice there, you shoot, you have experience, but you can do by your own also. I think we should really keep making the films, and not, when we look the careers way, it's become very dangerous, because like most of the times we compare ourselves with the very successful people. It's very dangerous. I also do. I mean, saying that, it doesn't mean I like the people we start at the same time. You see, they make more films. They go like they are very success, and this is a bit dangerous. And we should really get rid of this and just make the films. And also, like I think personally, like following the fashion in cinema also very dangerous, and it's like it makes us to make the films being expected, and like art, I think it's not like that. We should really be sincere and do the films we want to do. And if we don't have the availability and possibility to make films, then we can write for a while. Then one day, because while we are writing, also you think about cinema and you are making the film in your mind, and just in the beginning it can be a bit difficult because cinema really depends on the finance. And yeah, and I think the only things I can say, just somehow make it. Even with your phone, you can make very simple. Without making a few things, you cannot convince anyone for investing the money for actors, for the crew, for everyone. You have to really make something by your own and show. If it's interesting, then people started to be part of your next film. And the only things I can say is this.
Okay, Sarhat, and thank you for answering all the questions very patiently. And now we have few questions from the participants, and my colleague Ninu PK will be selecting the questions and asking you. Kindly answer the questions.
Hello, I'm Neenu, and we have some questions from the participants. And can we start the question and session?
Sure.
Okay, so the first question: has any film or short film ever influenced you to make your short films and films? And if so, which character of the film influenced you the most? This is the first question.
Yeah, I think for each film we have many influence. Not only the films. Like for example, for Bicycle, one of my short film, I really influenced and inspired a lot by Italian classic Bicycle Thieves, and from a film from Turkey like Hope from 1970s. I really inspired a lot, and I had some idea in my mind as a story, but these two films really gave impact on me. But I didn't know that when I finished the film, when I started to talk with the peoples, I realized, yes, these two films, like two of my inspiration. And for Musa also, there is like films inspired, not only film, many other things, but there's films for Ice Cream as well. For Ice Cream, for example, I think Darden Brothers, like the pure cinema they are making, it's like the style inspired me, not as a character or the story. And yeah, I think for each film we have a lot of this kind of characters, themes, and inspiration.
Okay, sir. Okay, so we will move on to the next question.
Sure.
Next question is, which character from the films you have made influenced or attract you more?
Well, I think the character in Musa, my short film Musa, probably they saw the films, and the character in Musa somehow, it's a short film. I personally think it's quite interesting, a strong character. Like normally in a short time but the actor who was acting is really great. He really add a lot of things to this. And I think personally that's maybe close to me, because when I was at university, I was watching a lot of films I was buying the film from Pride Seller, not original copy, because it was very expensive. And somehow that time I want to make a film about that experience, like that period of the time. This was the inspiration. Also, I think my I do not say my passion, like I want to make films also, it's kind of in a way in this film with this character. That's why I can say it's a bit close to me maybe. And in the past by Sensor also, the character is interested to storytelling. In this way I also, it's, of course we are totally different, just a character I have written, but it has some things. I'm also quite like I don't say like storytelling is very important in my life. For that character also it's important.
Thank you. Now we have one more question.
Sure.
The last question. And that's, yeah. Turkish film industry is more than 100 years old. What difficulties and hurdles did it face along the way?
Yeah, Turkish cinema is more than 100 years. That's true. It's until 1980s, there was, as we talked in the beginning, there was Yeşilçam era. It was really big industry. Like nowadays, like TV series industry is that big, but there was a military coup and suddenly it stopped, and like almost 15, 20 years, there was not any production. And there was this kind of difficulties, like coming, the reason was not the cinema, the reason was some other things. Like for example, military coup suddenly stopped all industry. This kind of thing in history, it happened several times. Like in history, we called it in Turkey cinema, in Turkey, like before every 10 years there was military coup and it stopped the life and everything started from zero. And this kind of difficulties, it makes each time start from zero. And this time, like it starts from mid-90s and somehow it's continue. It's because of the political situation in Turkey. It makes a bit complicated and difficult to continue to make the films for the filmmakers, and that's why it's not really like French cinema never stop with this kind of stuff. We have this kind of problems. It's not only in the cinema, in the life. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for answering all the questions from the participants. And now I'll hand over the mic to Manju ma'am.
Thank you, Sir Karaslan, for your valuable time spending for us. And we wish you a great success for your new movie, The Criminals.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
And one more speaker was about to join us, Ms. Rubiat Hossain, but unfortunately, she is held up in a hospital and she informed us she couldn't join us. And Professor Prashanthi, can you sum up our webinar?
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, go ahead. I didn't hear you. Can you
No,
repeat it
I
once
was
again?
asking you, could you sum up our webinar? You met all of the SAARC filmmakers and Turkish filmmaker.
Yes, I met a
Can
lot.
you sum up? And what's your real feeling about the webinar?
Yes, I hope that it was very much a success. So we can work together for the SAARC region and beyond that, because we had several from outside our boundaries, but we know that it's a global village now.
Yes.
Because it's a common experience now we all are enjoying. So when Manju was talking about criminal, so it's the same experience now you are enjoying an experience, although it's from Turkey. And as he explained that it's a 3-country venture, if I'm correct. So they're taking it as an advantage to interest to the universal issues and the most rational topics. So that is where we are coming together to one platform to speak about our issues in one common platform, sharing our thoughts and experience, and while being all brothers and sisters in the same global village. And we feel it and we share it. And finally, it's going to be one of our lifelong experiences, though we have in reality experienced it. So that is what the film as an art, as I believe, should serve the community. So that they have done a massive job, as from kind of Calcutta to Nepal to Turkish and everywhere, and from Sri Lanka. Like there are some young, new, energetic filmmakers like Chatraveeraman and from Lester James Peiris. And I'm really happy that we paid tribute to Satyajit Ray and Lester James Peiris, 2 legendary filmmakers in the region. And they have inspired a lot because they have spoken the stories, the lifelong experience of our region. Not only our region, at times, it can be applied to the entire world. So that is how we connect together, and they have made a wonderful job to make it as an art and an industry to make people together, think together, and live together in this global village in as one small community. because we all are more or less enjoying or having the same experience from life to death, from birth to death. So that's what we have to realize at the end. And I'm really happy that who is from Nepal, my good friend from Nepal, and in recent film market, some of the filmmakers have ruined the classic of the beauty of the filmmaker because they have called themselves as market creators. So I really do not know what that means, but I really admire that and from his word, from your words, that loses our identity. And we all have our own identity. Wherever we go, whatever we do, and whatever the courses that we live, there is an identity. That's the regional identity, global identity as human beings. So the representation of human being with all those common characteristics is one such serene objective mission of film as an appealing medium of expression. And as you said, these TV series have killed this divine quality of the film or those kind of camera art. I mean, if I'm correct, that the interest of watching films live, getting together to experience that lively experience at a massive gathering. But that is due to the reason that film has become a business. We know that it's a business. When it comes to Hollywood, Bollywood, and wherever it is, it's a business. It's an industry. They make films in major scale. And that has a brand identity too. When it comes to Hollywood, when it is called Bollywood, and it is when it comes to Cannes Film Festival, and then these international film festivals, that the recognition is there with a certain brand identity. But at the same time, I believe that we have to maintain that cultural identity where we stand on our foot. So I really like Vinod's expression. And although you have been influenced 99% from India, and your Bulbul has represented Nepal at its best. So my good luck and best wishes for you to go ahead with your future ventures to represent Nepal and the nations of South Asian region. So we wish you all the good luck. I wish you all the good luck representing these all 8 SAARC countries. That is my wish and my blessings and my mission too. Thank you so much, Manju, for giving me this opportunity to share with you all and coming into one platform to address the issues and the new waves of South Asian cinema. And honestly, this COVID-19 pandemic situation provided us with a lot of avenues to think of from different points of view, to think of this mass media to appeal the society and to, awake themselves and to get them back to their normal life. Because art is certain a kind of strong medium of appealing the person in front of you that can heal and feel that person better. So that I believe that is our utmost responsibility. If each one of us can make the one in front of us happy, entire world will be happy one day. Peace and harmony. So I wish all of you good luck and peace and harmony. Thank you so much and have a good night.
Thank you, Professor Prashanthi, for your good words. And we hope to have wonderful cultural sharing days with SAARC Cultural Center. Thank you. And
Thank you so much.
now we will once again, we'll play the beautiful song of Bulbul of Vinod Paudar. Sorry, due to some technical issues, it's not audible. Sorry, Vinod. It's heartening to see the great passion for independent cinema. Unlike in the past, emergence of digital platforms, greater number of festival opportunities, and more importantly, the changing preferences of audience of realistic movies are ushering in a new era of support system for independent cinema. The appreciation and support for upcoming filmmakers opens up avenues for filmmakers to experiment and showcase their creativity. Global collaborations in film production are the new way forward. Aspiring filmmakers must seek out such opportunities. The independent films in South Asia is evolving fast. Academic community and researchers can take up research studies on the works of new filmmakers. Media need to support and focus on independent cinema and nurture upcoming talents. We are concluding this webinar here. Our sincere gratitude to Professor Prashanthi Maragoda, Binod Paudal, Anik Chowdhury, and Sarhat Karaslan, also for Rubaiyat Hussain, who informed us she is held up in a hospital. Thank you. Thank you one and all for being part of this webinar. For the kind information of participants, we are sending the feedback link to you in a day's time. E-certificates for the participants will be sent on receiving your feedback. Already the feedback form link is sent. Kindly respond. Thank you all. Stay safe and good night from Team Christ Nagar, Maranelur, Trivandrum.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. Thank you so much, Manju. Thank you, Christ Nagar. Bye-bye. Thank you, Prasadi.
Thank you.
Thank you all.